Hello everyone, FreakyDude99 here, bringing you the Firestorm Sunlock build. This build is all for people that like ability spam, they like not using their weapons, and just covering the entire battlefield in a sea of fire and destruction. Let's get into how the build works now. First up, for our super, we will be personally using Well of Radiance. Well of Radiance and the other super Daybreak are both very good. It is ultimately up to personal preference, but for more team survivability, you're going to want to go Well of Radiance, and it's what I go personally. Now, for our class ability, we will be using Phoenix Dive as it synergizes perfectly with this build. Of course, you can use Healing Rift or Empowering Rift. It is all personal preference and does not change much except for tailoring it to your personal playstyle. Now, for our melee ability, we will be using Celestial Fire and not Incinerator Snap. Now, I know a lot of people like Incinerator Snap, but the range on it is just not that good. With Celestial Fire, it goes a lot farther, which means you can secure faraway kills in order to proc your Sunbracer. We will be using Celestial Fire for this build, but you can use Incinerator Snap if you want to. For our grenade, we are using Solar Grenade. There's no other option for this build. Now for the first aspect, we will be using Touch of Flame as it will be enhancing our solar grenades. Our solar grenades get longer duration and they emit out blobs of lava, which increase its damage potential immensely. For our second aspect, we will be using Heat Rises as it allows us to use our weapons, grenade, and melee while floating, as well as Final Blows will increase our uptime of Heat Rises and give us melee energy back. Now for our first fragment, we will be using Ember of Searing as it allows us to get our melee energy back very quickly, even just by using our melee and our grenade. For our second aspect, we will be running Ember of Ashes as we apply more Scorch stacks and thus will get more melee energy back. For our third fragment, we will be using Ember of Torches as empowered melee attacks will grant us Radiant. Radiant is very nice and gives us a much needed buff to our weapons. For our fourth fragment, we will be running Ember of Benevolence. This is so when we become Radiant and we make our allies Radiant, we get our abilities recharged faster. Now for fragment alternatives. Honestly, Ember of Torches can be swapped out for any other fragment. It is all personal preference on that last one. For the first two, they are necessary. Now that the subclass is out of the way, let's move on to weapons. The only weapon, Monte Carlo. Monte Carlo allows us to regen our melee energy very quickly, but of course you can use this build without Monte Carlo and something like Teraba. Now on to armor. We will be starting with the helmet and running it with solar energy. We will be using Bountiful Wells and Harmonic Siphon. Now for our gauntlets, we will be using the exotic Sunbracers. We're going to be using this with a Well of Life mod and then any other mods you want. For our chest piece, we will be having it Arc Energy to get access to Heavy Handed. For our boots, you can run any energy and run Melee Wellmaker. And for our class item, we will be using Elemental Charge on it. Now, what makes this build so great? Well, first, you don't need any stats into Discipline. Second, you only need stats into Strength. Third, you don't need high stat armor. On my Warlock right now, I have barely anything masterworked and not a lot of great stat rolls, but as you see from the gameplay, even in a Legend Lost sector, I'm able to complete it in under 10 minutes, which is amazing for a Warlock that is basically fresh out of the gate. It requires 0 seasonal mods and allows you to spam grenades all over the map. Now there are a couple other variations of this build, of course, all over YouTube, but what makes my build so special is the fact that we're using Celestial Fire so you get more range. As you see from the gameplay, I am able to get melee kills from quite a far away and then able to refresh my grenade and throw it at a boss. This is what makes it so beautiful. As well as Monte Carlo allows us to regen our melee super quick in case we ever mess up our combo or our melee doesn't actually kill the target we want it to kill. Now, I've worked on this build for a full day and I'm happy to share it with all of you. I will be working on a Solar Hunter build come next video. The rest of the video will now just be gameplay of the Firestorm Sunlock in action. You will see gameplay from the new Nightmare Containment event, as well as from a Legend Lost sector on the moon. Thank you everyone for watching, for viewing, for liking, for subscribing. I've appreciated the support heavily, and just seeing my last video blow up so big was amazing. I hope all of you have a fantastic day, evening, morning, and we'll see you in the next one, everyone. Peace out.